This is a video I've wanted to make for years, but I've finally got myself to write this up and present this video to you. These are my opinions and you may find yourself agreeing or disagreeing as we go on. But what I want most is for things to be taken away from this video, things to be learnt, and most of all, for gaming to be taken a little bit more seriously. But before I continue, let me humbly admit that this video has been inspired by Archimedes123 and his channel link will be in the description. Over the years, as I got older, one thing I noticed is that some people, usually non-gaming adults, look down on gaming. They see it as childish, pointless, or a waste of time. And this video is directly aimed at the people who think this way. They can't fathom how a grown adult can sit down with a controller in his or her hand and claim that they're enjoying themselves. Even with gaming's flourish of mature rated titles ranging from Grand Theft Auto to even more gory and gruesome ones such as Mortal Kombat and The Last of Us. This video is also aimed at writers, producers and directors who are failing to see the potential their creativity is yearning for.
What? How dare you be gaming at this age and enjoying it? How on earth is this your hobby or what you used to pass time, relax or even have fun with?
I feel like for a lot of gamers out there, there's like this obsessive component to something in our lives that led us into a particular game and gaming experience. And that's almost, and I've come back to games a lot. Like there's several moments where I realized I love gaming and then I tried to like put it aside because I'm old enough that like, I'm of the generation where everybody told me that it was a waste of time, it's a toy, what are you doing? You're a man-child, sure. Why are you still playing video games? And like that's come back over and over and over again in my life.
Little do they know that gaming is the best storytelling medium. Let me tell you why. As a gamer, you are the player and you get to control specific characters. This means you have the freedom to explore the environment and levels in video games at your own pace. This simple concept means level designers can hide secrets or special items in areas only for the adventurers to find. It also adds value to the game and can lead you to see or find what you otherwise may have skipped or ignored. However, I am trying to focus on storytelling as it is in the video title, so let's take Grand Theft Auto 5 for example. GTA 5 has a character switching mechanic which allows the player to switch characters and see things from a different perspective. But seeing isn't where it stops. We are talking about control, remember? The characters have different personalities, qualities, strengths and weaknesses, and this creates dynamic gameplay but also an element of problem solving. Character switching can also be done whenever the player wants to and to whom they want. This mechanic truly allows for some untapped imagination and diverse gameplay, which of course would aid the story in said video game. Compare this to a movie where you are not free to explore the environment or allowed to see what someone else sees. A movie would primarily focus on one character per scene with jump cuts that tie the story together. Of course this can be an advantage, but it's definitely not as open or as free as a video game that is controlled. Oh, and bear in mind that GTA 5 is a game that has been hugely successful, grossed over $800 million and sold 11.2 million copies in just 24 hours of being released. It doesn't stop there, it then went on to break 6 Guinness World Records. How about that for you, huh? Control leads me on to my next topic. Players have the choice to do what they want. And you may be thinking choice and control are technically the same thing, but let's break things down a little and look at a game called Heavy Rain. Heavy Rain is a game all about choices and it doesn't refrain from telling you that. As you progress through the story, your decisions and actions do have an impact on the overall outcome of the game. Yes, that's right. The game has multiple paths and endings and some of them require a very precise set of rules for you to see them. Do you tell the truth or do you lie? Do you cut your finger off or walk away? Do you love your son enough to die for him or is it all just too risky to follow through with? I'd also like you to take a look at Infamous 2. In this game, the protagonist, Cole McGrath, is controlled by the player, but the player has the choice and free will to be good or evil. Their actions sway a meter which determines the direction of the story and even the outcome of the character himself. Again, it's bringing dynamic gameplay, choice and 2 different stories but both in the same installment of its media, a video game. Now tell me what book or movie is going to do that? Books. Who loves books? I like books but I can't be bothered with them nowadays. Books tell amazing stories and are basically the oldest form of storytelling, apart from spoken word of course. You have books as old as the Bible which now comes in many different languages and forms. I'm not getting into religion, don't worry. What I'm saying is, books are relevant, but I'm a very visual person. I like to see things, appreciate the details and keep it that way. With books, the writer may write, "The black cat with strange eyes sat on the wooden chair." person A may depict this cat sitting on a mahogany chair, and person B may imagine this cat sitting on an oak chair. Now, as a writer, perhaps you may want the details to be left to the reader's imagination, but if your storytelling medium is not visual, readers may imagine or think of what you didn't intend them to. Whereas with video games, you are in full control of what X, Y, and Z looks like. You can design and render whatever you like, and this leads on to my next point. Man of Steel 2 is pretty much a laughingstock right now. Why? No, not because the first one was terrible, but because the audience and the fans are disagreeing with the casting. There was a huge outcry when Ben Affleck was confirmed to play the role of Batman and Bruce Wayne in the sequel. And now, there are rumours that Jesse Eisenberg is going to play Lex Luthor. And no, people don't agree with that either.
Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor? Bitch, you crazy. I ain't scared of you. The fuck you gonna do? You gonna fucking update my Facebook status?
The point I'm trying to make is, in video games, this problem does not exist ever. You design a character and you bring them to life.
One more request, could you say okay?
Okay.
Thank you so much.
You're quite welcome.
If you want a tall brooding man with white hair to don a long red leather jacket, you got it. A supernatural aging beast with an incredibly absurd beard, you got it. A slim British brunette with huge bazookas. No, I'm not talking about weapons yet. Yep, almost there. Almost perfect. No problem.
No, actually, let's redesign her.
A short, fat Italian mushroom-eating plumber in blue overalls. Done. A muscular, vicious and ruthless man forever covered in ashes from head to toe. I think you get the point, and technology is only moving forward, which is making these characters even more lifelike.
On PlayStation 4, this is what you can get. Quantic Dream has developed a completely new engine. What you see is running in real-time 3D on a PlayStation 4. It is our first attempt at using advanced skin shaders with translucency, realistic ice shaders, volumetric lights, 3D depth of field, and many, many other features that were up until today reserved to CG films. This is the quality that we will get in our future games, and we know we can go even further. But more important than these technical features, we start to reach a point where you can see very subtle emotions on the face of a character, where you can feel his emotions just looking at his face, where you can see his soul just looking into his eyes. When you look at this old man, you can imagine who he is, what he thinks, what happened to him, without him saying a word. With the PlayStation 4, game creators can now forget about the technology limitations and simply focus on inventing experiences never seen before. We can concentrate on what amazing stories we want to tell and what incredible worlds we want to create. We can take you to places you have never been before and make you feel emotions you have never felt in real life without having to wonder if we will have the horsepower to do so. We are now only limited by our imagination. Thank you.
We're also in a day and age where motion capture really does bring a character's animations to life. But let's say you do have the perfect actor. The actor or actress has the looks and the perfect voice. They play the role with nothing to complain about. But what if the actor disagrees with something in your script or plot for whatever reason? Say for instance what you're asking them to do goes against their morals or abilities, such as smoking, swimming, nudity or lustful acts. It could be for religious reasons or something their spouse disagrees on, such as intimate moments with another character. Again, in video games, none of these problems should exist or bother the intended actor because it's non-physical. The voice actor is simply putting life into the character and representing them. Getting a voice actor is all you need to worry about when designing your video game character. You don't need to worry about looks, height, weight, strength, age or any other physical properties you are seeking or avoiding. You don't even need to worry about stunt doubles or lookalikes because your rendered character will forever remain that way if you so desire, but can also be redesigned or slightly altered whenever you wish. Leon S. Kennedy is this guy, Paul Mercier.
like a lot of people that I know, actors primarily start in the theater because that's where you kind of create whatever you can imagine in an empty space, and the audience can see what you're imagining in this empty space as well. When I came out to Hollywood, I mean, I don't think anybody thinks, oh gee, I think I want to be a voice actor, although it has happened before. Me, I wanted to just see what was out here, especially in feature film and TV. And when I started booking commercials and some animated shows, and all of a sudden video games were starting to really catch on. I was working with some really incredible people who were pioneers in the field. I mean, this is when we had like 8-bit, files that you'd scream or something after falling down a well, and I'd be like, no, you know what? We have to make it shorter because we only have 612 kilobytes for this file. And then to watch it develop and to watch the technology just sort of chase the imagination of some of these people that are working today, it's outrageous. That's why I'm looking forward to the future. It's better than looking backward to the future. What were you thinking?
And Batman is this guy, Kevin Conroy.
You're not safe here. No one is.
Kevin would come in and go, no, I don't think Batman would quite say it like this, or this is how I want to say this line. And we're like, okay, cool, awesome, let's go for it.
Don't worry about me. You're needed out there.
I've been doing the character now for 20 years. The audience knows him as well as I do. They would know in a second if I did something inauthentic, and they'd call me on it.
Get out of my way, Quinn.
Leave us alone, B-Man!
I said move!
Now, Kevin Conroy is widely regarded as the voice of Batman. But do you really think these guys would be approached to play the characters I just showed you in real life?
Sorry to have bothered.
Hell no. But still, they do an amazing job of bringing their characters to life. As for Christian Bale, I think he made a great Bruce Wayne, but his role as Batman,
I swear to God. Swear to me!
Now compare that to this. Which sounds better?
What are you talking about?
I think you'll agree that video games allow more room for things to happen.
Where are the other drugs going?
You know what? That's not bad.
I just lost my voice.
Yeah, that sounds good.
You're not just saying that.
Yeah, no, I swear to God.
Swear to me!
When designing a character or item, you are able to have many different versions. Take for instance, Batman's suit. There are no costs to making the suit look real or having to pay for high quality or expensive materials. Let's say in the upcoming Batman Arkham Knight, there is a chapter where the Batmobile takes heavy damage and is put out of commission for a while. All the animators and designers need to do is take the original Batmobile model and create a damage model out of it. A few scratches here and there, let's remove a wheel, destroy one of the headlights. Ta-da! There's no worry about crashing an expensive rare vehicle as if it were real life, having the stunt go wrong, or even worse, having it stolen or sabotaged. Just design away. This doesn't mean that your models can't look like a real actor, vehicle or item though. LA Noire used face capture to create immense amount of details and facial animations, arguably the best, and the characters looked exactly like their actors. As for cars, Need for Speed and other racing games are known for its licensed cars with painstaking amounts of details, making them exact copies of the real thing but in pixels. I know Gran Turismo is purely racing with no story, but I found the short film very interesting, and it does give you an insight on how ideas are fed into gaming and how gaming pushes the divide between reality.
で、僕は正直びっくりして俺がゲーム作るのっていう感じだったんだけども、ちょっと考えてみたら自分自身のバックグラウンドも含めてビデオゲームは確かに作れるなと思ったんですよね。
Back in the early 90s, when Sony was first starting to think about a PlayStation console, Kazunori wanted to produce this car game that he wanted to produce since he was 15 years old. And he approached the the Sony executives and the people in charge of the games at the time, and explained to him what he wanted to do. But they really weren't interested in a car game. They presumably weren't car people, and they didn't think that a game that technical or that focused would really sell.
でそのあたりからまあ確かにビデオゲームを作るっていうのは企業にとっては投資だからなんかそんな簡単に自分の好きなものが作れるわけじゃないんだなってことは分かりました。まあ、あるアイディアを思いついて、まあ、それは具体的には、まあ、別の装いを持ったビデオゲームでそれはその当時ヒットしていたビデオゲームのような装いを持ったビデオゲームの中にグランツーリスモを隠すっていうことだったんですね。でそれがモータートゥーングランプリというタイトルで外から見ると、まあ、任天堂のよく売れていたビデオゲームのように見える。でも中で行われるトライ僕らができる試行錯誤というのはグランツーリスモにつながるものでした。
Related to my previous point, fictional worlds can be imagined and brought to life. This allows for so much freedom to create what's in your imagination. Sure, you can take a city and pretend it's a real-life Gotham by putting GCPD on the side of the cop cars. But how about creating your own Gotham, your own world? With video games, you don't need to worry about filming permits, closing off streets or areas, creating mock-up set scenes, uncontrollable weather or time, natural disasters or nuisances destroying your intended area for filming, having bad CGI or even worse, movie mistakes. And of course you don't need to worry about health and safety and stuff like that. Everything is rendered and controlled in the game's engine, and your only limitation is you. Well, it can be hardware sometimes, but this is a very important topic. I think CGI is the most relevant point we should cover here. Live action movies like to get ambitious, but movies can also have a limitation too. You'd use CGI to create an item to save on costs, or create an item or environment that is not real. But the problem is, it might not look real enough and can leave viewers pissed off with an eyesore.
Number 4. Motorbike Chase, Ultraviolet. This sci-fi action flick takes place in the year 2078, meaning that expectations for cool effects were high from the start. Unfortunately, it's packed with flat and lifeless effects that look several renderings away from being passable. The worst offender is the laughably bad chase sequence, centered on Mila Jovovich riding a motorbike. Nothing in this scene looks remotely real, or, dare I say it, cool. Graphics like this aren't even fit for a second-tier video game.
If it were a video game, everything would be the same level of detail, or you could prioritize what should be more detailed than others. It's really at your own discretion and up to you. Let's look at Uncharted 3 and a scene where Nathan Drake finds what he's looking for. Atlantis of the Sands, the city of Uber. When I first saw it and the gates opened, I felt that I had been struck by the breeze and light from heaven. I felt like the angels came down and bathed me in bliss and glory. I felt like I could run and fly, like I could step on water and not worry. What I'm saying is, this fictional world was designed with so much grandeur and magnificence it took me away. Just look at it and ask yourself, if this were a live action movie, just how much would it cost to get this scene to look like this? And where would you do it? The same goes for Uncharted 2 Shambhala and any other game which has exquisite scenes or incredibly damaged environments. Movies are great, don't get me wrong. And of course it is nice to go to the cinema where you don't have to do anything but sit down, eat popcorn, enjoy, and perhaps get a cheeky squeeze of your girl's breast. It's an experience that I never ever want to see go away.
How are video games superior to this, Mr. Magnificent Media?
Well, video games can do the same too. A gamer does not always have to be in control of what happens on screen. The gamer could be presented with cutscenes that guide them through or reveal more of the story. Cutscenes are basically pre-rendered videos where all the player has to do is watch. So, as a game creator, you want the player to have freedom and explore, but you also want something awesome to happen, but you don't want them to be stuck in a cutscene at the same time. How do you go about this? Fear not, you can give them something called set pieces. Let me just shut up for a minute and allow you to watch this amazing clip from the well-loved and praised Uncharted 2.
Kidding, right?
We were almost in that.
Thanks, Jack.
As you saw, the player was not stuck in a cutscene and forced to watch. In that set piece, the player was still in control of the character, maybe not in control of what was happening around him, but yes, he was in control of the character. Also, as you heard at the end of the clip, Nathan Drake said, "We were almost in that," literally implying that the player could have failed, as it wasn't a cutscene, it was gameplay. Set pieces allow you to have scenes that force the player into a situation but do not force them to sit and watch. If that wasn't enough, let me show you another set piece from its sequel, Uncharted 3. I would show you the airplane scene, but I think it would be better if I, show you a set piece that's a bit more open. Here, Nathan Drake is chasing Talbot, and I'm going to show you all the things that have to happen. In this scene, if the player does not react quick enough or correctly, they could fail the chase scene. So, as you can see, the player really is put into the character's shoes. It's true immersion that you can funnel the player through, rather than just having them being stuck on a sofa watching your DVD. Finally, although the horror genre in gaming has been pretty dead lately, an iconic moment from Resident Evil 2 is this jump scare. I'm specifically talking about the one where the zombie arms punch through the window and are reaching for the protagonist. It may not be scary by today's standards, but a gamer who is unaware of that moment and is playing for the first time would definitely not see that coming at all. Moments like these can get the game on edge when they are least expecting it, and the better you get them on edge, the more they will hype up and commend your game. It's one of the reasons the Resident Evil franchise is so successful today, although it has kind of fallen off its path lately. Set pieces can also provide multiple death scenes, which do not aid storytelling, but they are cool and something that you'd never see in other forms of media. It's only gaming that has the ability to continue or retry after a character's death or failure. Long movies can be painful for some, especially as it's not really the type of media you should pause and come back to later. However, the longer the story in a video game, the more the gamer appreciates it, as the gamer can pause at any time and also save their progress, turn off their system and then continue where they left off, whenever they want to. Some people have complained about movies' runtimes such as The Dark Knight Rises, Django Unchained, and even The Godfather. Oh, and Fast and Furious 6.
No, that was the runway they complained about.
Oh, right. Well, the long runway affected the long runtime, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Anyway, I don't ever recall anyone screaming,
This game is too long. Yeah, man. I want a refund, goddammit. This game is too long.
You can design a game where the player's skills affect the outcome of the story. For example, you could have a section where the gamer must complete a list of specific tasks to get something. You could base it on reaction times or even pure real-world knowledge. Gaming honestly does help a lot and correlates more than you think with real life. Puzzles are implemented into many games nowadays, even horror ones such as Resident Evil. If you think about it, gaming is a constant flow of learning skills and applying skills. Learning skills and applying skills. Learning skills and applying skills. And if your video game does something positive for a gamer, believe me, he or she will be touched and remember it forever.
In my lifetime, I've only experienced 2, well maybe 3 when I was a baby, but like ones that I can remember are 2 near-death encounters, and both of those encounters were on the same, like it's in the same 2-week span, so it's pretty crazy. And I didn't realize like the first one being, if you guys can't even talk, if you guys have seen the controller, when I was there, I was shooting an explosive attached to like big pieces of wood. I was shooting those explosives from like 45 yards away, and there were a lot of explosives, and once you shot, you know, like there would be an explosion, and then there would be shrapnel from the wood going everywhere, and the shrapnel was flying. Like I was like 45 yards away, and once I shot it, like a piece of wood like the size of my face, just shrapnel, really sharp shrapnel, came flying by my face like 70 miles an hour. And honestly, if it just moved a little bit more to the right, it would have like hit me right in the face, and it could, like, if it hit my brain, like that could have killed me right there, honestly. And I didn't realize this until I saw the video, and I'll link you guys to the video right now on the screen. But other than that, the one that gaming saved my life, how gaming saved it, was when I flew back from that trip. I was back in Boston at the airport, Logan Airport, and then I was driving home, and I was on the highway, and I was driving like 90 miles an hour, and like on the middle lane, and there was this car in front of me on the left lane. It was kind of far in front of me, going about like 75 or 75 miles an hour. And as I was passing it, I noticed something in my peripherals, like something was getting closer to me on my left side. So I turned my head, and I see this car right next to me, like literally right next to me. And as soon as I saw that, I didn't have like any time to think. I just like dragged my wheel to the right as fast as I could, and I dodged the car, thank God, because honestly, like, that would have killed me right there if I didn't have those reflexes. And it was literally all because of gaming. Like, gaming has given me these insane reflexes that, like, once my adrenaline is up, like, I will react so fast, and that's all because of gaming. Like, so a lot of people don't get that, but gaming makes you react to things faster, ultimately makes you smarter. Gamers have a higher IQ than most people, so just want to let you guys know that, and that's how gaming saved my life. Thanks for watching, guys. Face Temper, and I'm out. Peace.
So to have something like Gran Turismo, where you can develop your skills in your living room, you can, for just a few $100s, there's a few games that can actually teach you something that applies that directly to a real world situation. Like the GT Academy obviously is a good example of that, where skills learned in the game have translated perfectly one-to-one with skills on the racetrack, the real racetrack.
Being a race car driver has been my dream since I was
a young boy.
It would mean everything to be a part of the Nissan racing team. My passion's to drive cars, and this is my opportunity to get that shot to drive in front of people who matter.
I'm Donnie Jones, host of GT Academy. 400,000 Gran Turismo 5 gamers entered a contest, hoping their skills in the game will transfer to the track. Only the 16 fastest will fight for the ultimate prize. The prestigious red helmet and a shot at becoming a professional race car driver for Nissan.
These guys come, they've been racing on a game which is pure, which is, unless you're good, you can't go fast on that game. And we take them, and they've got no knowledge about what the world we're in, the world we're here at Silverstone. And we can then train them using the skills they've got from the game in the right way, so they haven't got any bad habits. We can teach them the right way to become racing drivers.
When reading a book or watching a movie, you could argue that there is a disconnect between the character and the reader/viewer. But with gaming, the connection is always there, not only because of the control they are given, but because of the information and skills they learn and apply to complete the game. When creating a game, you can set exactly what tools the player has access to and at what time, what guns, what gadgets, what cars, etc, etc. At a later time, or in a different playthrough of the story, you can give them the items they never initially had at that moment. This creates more fun factor, replayability, different methods of problem solving, and last but not least, a possible new route to an alternate story. For example, as a game designer, you may say to your team, the gamer had the red key for the red door at this section of the game. When they play again, let's also give them the mysterious blue key and see if they choose to go that way. Oh, and believe me, the gamer will go through that blue door, because the curiosity is there. They've already been through the red door. Every gamer wants to get the most out of their money. They want to be the first to know and show, and they want to see what else is in store for them. Where is gaming's Christopher Nolan, Quentin Tarantino, Zack Snyder, James Wan, Martin Scorsese, James Cameron, Clint Eastwood, or Wachowski brothers? Better yet, why aren't they in the gaming industry? I hate to sound like a Nolan fanboy, but I really do think Inception would have made a downright jaw-dropping amazing game. The whole element of dreaming within a dream and having the right crew to make the dream seem real, and time and the danger of limbo. Do you see where I'm going? It's also interesting and is the refreshing apple juice that gaming needs right now. Sure, I love it as a film. Watched it many times. It's great and it looks great in terms of the visuals too. Props to Nolan. It's definitely one of his greatest works. But why are these guys neglecting so much potential? Are they scared? Too challenged? Not understanding enough of the industry? Or even worse, looking down on the industry? The gaming industry is one of the highest grossing industries. It's pretty healthy and provides many job opportunities, from journalism to voice acting to marketers. Do they have any idea how much they'd be respected by us gamers if they just turned their attention to game development just for once and led a group of talented developers into creating shocking, magnificent, unforgettable games on the same grandeur, creativity and scale as some of these blockbuster Hollywood hits? You've even got many game franchises making its way to live action movies. Just recently, Need for Speed the movie was released. There's also plans for Uncharted and The Last of Us to hit the big screens. And yes, video game movies do usually turn out bad, and vice versa.
You know what? If this didn't have the Rambo name plastered all over it, it wouldn't even hit the bargain bin at release. It wouldn't even hit the trash bin. It would miss it, fall on the floor, and then just get stepped on over and over by people walking by, and then picked up with dogs' teeth, slobbering rabid dogs, who then bury it and shit on it.
But they only happen because one of the mediums gets successful and the other media tries to continue on that success. Video games do become extremely successful, but often when they are turned into movies, the magic and effect that the game had gets completely lost in translation. I'm not saying there aren't great games out there. There are plenty, even ranging back from the beginning of video games. But I think it's about time gaming got some respect, some attention, and was taken more seriously. I think it's about time the potential was uncovered and brought to life. Chances are, some of your favorite or most memorable childhood memories did contain or were somehow linked to video games. For me, some examples are finally beating my older brother at Crash Team Racing, and another example is crying and rage quitting over Tekken. For you, it may be being at the arcade and making new friends by showing off your skills, unlocking your favorite character or car, or finally beating that bloody annoying boss or puzzle on the last level of whatever game you're thinking of.
when you would play a game and you got to the final boss and you had no continues left, your life meter was down to like, if you got hit one more time, you were dead. The final boss was almost dead, and you knew, like, you were playing, say, let's say Streets of Rage or something like that, and you knew that if he hit you, you're done, but you may be able to get that last hit on him and kill him off. That adrenaline rush was there, man, because there was consequence.
If you have made it this far into my video and still don't see what us gamers see, then that's fine. Some of you anti-gamers can laugh and downplay gaming all you want. Say what you like, but gaming has some of the most magical and unforgettable moments. How can movies or books provide these same scenarios I'm talking about? The only time you'd rage quit from a movie is if it were painfully terrible. The same goes for books. The only time you'd make a friend at the cinema is if you purposely aim to speak to the person for whatever reason, or through a friend, because in a cinema you're supposed to be quiet anyway. And there's no feeling of accomplishment like unlocking or beating a boss, because in a book or movie, the media is already set and determined with no room for control or change. I've shown you why I think video games are able to portray stories the best. You may prefer comics, you may prefer the cinema. It's fine either way. But at the end of the day, I believe I've shown you enough reasons why video games offer so much more. Thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed it. But I'd like to say one last thing. If there's any of my videos that I want to get views on, or explode and appear on forums, pages and groups, it's this one. Because I do care and I do want gaming to expand and touch those who do not see or understand it yet. Kindly share the video or simply tell me what you thought about it. If you are a gamer, you owe it to yourself, especially as it is pretty dry out here.
We all know how dry it is on these next gen consoles. I was like, you know what, there's nothing really to...
I've already done the hard part of writing, recording, gathering footage and editing. On that note, I'd also like to announce that I have officially started writing my own story, and I do intend for it to be a game. I already have ideas, the understanding and the creativity, but I'm in no rush. So if you ever see written by Martin Magnificent, just remember that's me. This has been a Mr. Magnificent Media production. Peace out.
You're lying, Miss Galetta. You know what happened and why. You're going to tell me.
I'll kill this son of a...